Today, we are going to be just covering top 10 fastest vehicles under 5K.
So my good friend Mark Roden dropped a new video the other day. Top 10 fastest cars for less than $5,000. I like Mark's content, and because he is my good friend, I did hit like, but something about this video just didn't sit right with me, so I'm gonna walk through it again and try to figure out what was wrong. Today on Collect Your Car Feed, the 10 fastest cars you could possibly buy for under 5,000 American dollars.
All right, so coming in at number 10 is actually going to the Audi TT first generation.
All right, off top, no complaints about this one, but whenever I have looked at Audi TTs, it seems like the second gen TT is always marginally more expensive than these on average, but you sure get a lot more juice for the squeeze out of a second gen. But let's see what he has to say.
This little weird Audi that I can never tell if I actually like it or not is actually pretty quick. I can't be the only one that looks at an Audi TT and I'm always just like, some days I like it, and then the next day I'm like, nope, it looks ugly.
Yeah, it looks like a new Beetle. It looks like a sportier new Beetle.
Either way, the Audi TT comes with a 3.2 liter V6 making 250 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive.
Let me stop you right there because you're leaving quite a bit out. Yes, the 3.2 liter VR6 Quattro did make 250 horsepower, but that is the top of the line first gen TT. Most of these are going to be the 1.8 liter making somewhere between 148 to 222 horsepower, and every single one that you can find for under $5,000 is going to be lit up like a Christmas tree on the cluster and will absolutely be the lower spec engine and or will be a burned out shell. I mean, this is an unrealistic car to buy for under $5,000.
These cars are commonly used for just about anything, whether it's rally racing, circuit racing, drag racing, even drift cars, because it's easy to swap an all-wheel drive car to rear-wheel drive. You'll see them everywhere.
I'm gonna be real with you. Outside of Facebook Marketplace and the occasional junkyard, I never see these anywhere.
Coming in at the number 9 spot is going to the Dodge Neon SRT4. I remember back like a couple years ago, the SRT4 was like the go-to first car. Like everybody had SRT4s. Everybody wanted an SRT4. They kind of fell off, but I think they should make a comeback, man. These things are still so cool.
Every single SRT4 under $5,000 is going to be a time bomb, either still ticking or detonated, but I guess the SRT4 is semi-realistic because I have seen quite a few of these for under $10,000 in not great condition. And you know, whoever's sitting on an SRT4 in 2023 needs money for scratchers and baby formula, so I could see it. I could see you pulling an SRT4 for under $5,000. It is possible, maybe not probable, but definitely possible.
They come with a 2.4 liter turbocharged inline-4, making 225 horsepower, and it is front-wheel drive.
Also, they came with 215 in 03 and 230 in 04 to 05, but that is nitpicking, and I do know it.
Coming in at the number 8 spot is going to the wonderful Saab 9-3.
That's a Saab 92X. The video is a Saab 92X. It's a completely different car.
The Saab 9-3 it's a very sleeper heavy car. Like nobody expects Saabs to be quick at all. They just look like grandma cars. But either way, they come with a 2 liter turbocharged inline-4 making 210 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive. They even offered, yes, they offered some models as front-wheel drive. Most of them are all-wheel drive though. Just want to put that.
I'm so confused by what we're seeing here.
Yes, once again, 210 horsepower doesn't sound like that much. It's a Saab 9-3. Again, lightweight car, built on a WRX platform. Everything about the car is pretty much a WRX.
All right, he said it's basically a WRX, so I have to assume that he's trying to recommend the 92X. Also commonly called the Saabaru because it is just an Impreza wagon with Saab badges on it, but he keeps saying Saab 9.3, which definitely doesn't have an EJ engine in it. Again, like the Audi TT, the 9.3 came in a bunch of trim levels, and you're never going to find a top trim 9.3 worth buying for under $5,000. You might find a 9.2X for that price with 1 million miles on it, so if that's what he meant, then sure, whatever. As for a Saab 9.3, it really isn't a bad car for a list of things to buy cheap, but you should do the research Mark didn't before jumping headfirst into one.
Coming in at the number 7 spot is going to the Chevy Cobalt SS. Somebody yelled at me the other day in one of my comment sections saying, he said it, Cobalt, it's Cobalt. I don't care. Okay, it's Cobalt.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there because it's definitely Cobalt, but this is a solid wreck. I think these are actually slept on a bit.
These cars are very slept on.
And it's not just the Cobalt. Mark doesn't mention it, but you can also look for the Saturn Ion Redline, which is the exact same platform and features the same 2-liter supercharged engine the Cobalt got.
Just like, they're kind of like an SRT4. It comes with a 2-liter supercharged inline-4, making 205 horsepower. There is a turbocharged version of this that makes even more horsepower. It's harder to find it under 5K though, but if you can, once again, absolute steal.
It feels like there's absolutely no love for these left in the world, so finding one for under $5,000 does seem realistic.
On the other end of the spectrum, if you're just trying to go fast in a straight line, number 6 is the Ford Crown Victoria. Of course, because it's a just muscle car. As we all know,
these are absolute slugs. I owned a 2002, and while it's boat-like handling made for comfortable highway cruising, especially since every other driver ahead of you in the fast lane will subconsciously move over and let you through, these were cop cars forever, so I guess people still have it in their mind that any Crown Vic they see may still be a cop car, but these are dog shit slow cars. Yes, they do have a Mustang engine under the hood. It also happens to be an F-150 engine, a Ford Explorer engine, and so on, but yeah, Mustang engine, fine. But the Vic weighs a hair under 4,000 pounds. You should really think of the Crown Victoria as the sedan version of an F-150 rather than a Mustang with 4 doors. The SN95 and New Edge Mustangs of the same vintage as the Crown Vic weigh about 400 pounds less, which, yes, is a lot. And you can get them with stick shifts, unlike the Crown Vic, and guess what? The Mustangs also have Mustang engines. Now, if you're talking about what 4.6-liter V8 powered anything I'd personally buy for under $5K, yeah, it'd probably be the Vic, but these do not belong anywhere near a list of cars with an emphasis on speed.
As we all know, these used to be old police cars, and so nowadays, since the police have moved on and are starting to use Ford Taurus shows now, well, they have been for a while now, actually.
Crown Vics have largely been out of service by police and cab companies for a long time now. They stopped making the P71 in 2011, and everybody has long since switched to different platforms. You can still find old P71s on Facebook and Craigslist for sure, but you're not going to get a smoking auction deal like Elwood Blues.
I picked it up at the Mount Prospect City Police Auction last spring. They were practically giving them away.
They come with a 4.6-liter V8, making 239 horsepower.
239 horsepower is only the 2003 model year. 98 to 02 make 215 to 235, and 04 to 11 make 250. Again, this car weighs 4,000 pounds.
That's actually the same V8 that they were putting in the New Edge Mustang GTs at the time. Use your brain a little bit before you start buying Crown Vics.
Just don't buy a Crown Vic, honestly. I'm not saying you can't have fun in a Crown Vic, but realistically, you won't have fun in a Crown Vic. Just buy something else.
They are just a blast of a car. 240 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, high-revving V8.
Hold up. Last nitpick on the Crown Vic before we move on. High-revving V8. These make max torque at like 4,000 RPM, and redline is under 6,000. Moving on.
Coming in at the number 5 spot, it is the Lexus SC400. Now, the SC400 is a little bit questionable because it's not meant to go fast. It was built to be a luxury car. So it only comes with an automatic transmission. It's a bit heavier. It has a longer wheelbase. But what's under that hood, sitting there hiding, waiting for its moment to shine, is a 4-liter V8, making 270 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive.
Okay. This one is fine. Like, I get the point of this list, so this one is fine for it. But like he said, the SC400 only comes in an automatic. Also, these made 250, 260, or 290 horsepower dependent on year. They never made 270. 290 is only in the 98 to 2000, which came with VVTi, and you are never going to find one of those worth buying for under $5,000. Also, you'd have a lot more fun in a stick shift SC300 making 225 horsepower, but I think raw numbers is all we're really concerned with here, which is odd considering he's getting all those numbers wrong so consistently.
The only thing that you have to do to an SC400 to make it like a fun little race car is swap the automatic out with a manual, which, yes, is going to be a little bit of a struggle.
First of all, there's absolutely no way that any of the SCs shown here are automatic 1UZs. These are probably all either 2Js or 1J swaps, and you know these all have manuals. Nobody is sliding an automatic SC400 like this, not even Orion Dinovich. And yes, it is possible to swap an SC400 to a manual, but by the time you do that, you will have sunk another $5,000 into it. Maybe just buy a 350Z at that point. Hell, you could buy a 350Z for under $5,000, and that makes more horsepower than anything on this list so far. Maybe he'll bring that up.
Coming in at number 4 is going to another Ford. Obviously, I feel like you guys probably expected the American cars to get on here on the fast cars list, but it is a Ford Mustang GT SN95, which is pretty much just a shorter wheelbase, lighter weight, better looking Ford Crown Vic. They are pretty much exactly the same car, to be honest, but this one's just better in every way. They come with a 4.6-liter V8, just like the other one, making 225 horsepower.
I actually agree with this one. SN95 would be a good purchase for under $5,000. but he's showing a 5.0 engine bay while talking about the 4.6, and the Mustang before this also did say 5.0 on the side. Nitpicky, I know. The first couple years of the SN95 were 5.0, but then in 1996 they dropped it for the 4.6 liter mod motor. Regardless, every single Mustang GT from 94 to 97 made 215 horsepower. The 225 horsepower model is only the 1998. In 1999 through 04, the new Edge redesign of the SN95 was out, and those made 260 horsepower in the GT trim. And again, these weigh significantly less than a Crown Vic. In all seriousness, this is probably the best suggestion on the list so far. I would definitely look for a sub $5,000 SN95 Mustang if you're looking to go fast for no money.
But the SN95 is significantly better because it was built to actually go fast, whereas a Crown Vic is built to, travel like old people to bingo and back every night. The GT Mustang, though, that's built to hit into crowds.
Okay, well, he's right about that.
The V8 that's in these Mustangs, yes, it's not a 5.0, but it still is decent for making power. So even if you do want more power, you can very easily get more.
All right, we're down to the last three. And what does Mark have for us? A complete clusterfuck.
Coming in at third place, however, the bronze medal of this list is the BMW 745 Li. Such a weird name for a car, by the way.
Okay, off top, he shows a listing for an E38 750 IL, but the title is 745 IL, which does not exist, and he says 745 Li, which is a next generation BMW. It's an E65 7 Series.
But it is the E38 generation. They come with a 4.4 liter V8, making 282 horsepower.
Okay, he's showing specs for the M62 V8 found in the 740i. So I think he's trying to recommend either the 740i or 740IL, which is totally fine. The IL in this case, though, refers to the longer wheelbase version of the E38 that gives your rear passengers extra legroom. So if you're buying one of these to drive yourself around in, I wouldn't take that L. A car I've personally considered is the E39 540i, which has the same V8 described here in a smaller body, and you could get it in a stick shift, unlike literally any E38. The 540i is the poor man's M5 and would be a way better buy than whatever Mark is trying to recommend here, but either way, a sub 5K 740i or 540i is probably going to be at the end of its lifespan, so don't go dreaming too hard about one if you have a hard $5,000 budget.
Once again, I know we're not talking about reliability, but this vehicle is not reliable. I want to make that very clear. Coming in at second place is going to my vehicle, actually, the Nissan 350Z.
This is a good recommend, and honestly, if I were making a video called Fastest Cars You Can Buy for Under $5,000, it would probably just be 10 minutes and 1 second talking about the 350Z.
I know a lot of people are going to be like,
Oh, no, I hate this guy. He's so biased because he owns one. I hate VQs. They sound like trumpets.
then hate him, okay? I don't care.
Based. Fuck 'em, Mark. The VQ sounds good if you don't straight pipe it or go with a single exit. If you disagree, leave it in the comments, but know that you're wrong.
They come with a 3.5 liter V6, making 306 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. Realistically, you're probably only going to be able to find a DE for under 5K though, so you're probably looking at closer to 287 horsepower. The honorable mention,
What? Mark, no!
I did it. I did it again. It is the Mitsubishi Eclipse GT 4th generation. There is 11 cars in this list. I lied. I said there was only 10. The 4G Eclipse comes with a 3.8 liter V6, making 263 horsepower.
Okay, they did make that horsepower, but it is front wheel drive and it is only in the GT trim. Probably 99% of these, including the one shown for sale, are going to be the 162 horsepower i4. And either way, this car, like the 3rd gen She-Clips before it and the Eclipse Cross SUV after it, did not deserve to bear the name Eclipse. You could probably get yourself a 1G or 2G 4G 6.3 powered, potentially all-wheel drive Eclipse, Talon, or Laser for under 5K, if you don't mind it being a salvage title neon green Paul Walker tribute project car. So I would say the Eclipse should be on the list, just not this one. For Christ's sake.
Looks aside, yes, we're all kind of a little bit disappointed in the 4th gen Eclipse. We're not going to sit here and lie about that. But
true.
That is a decent horsepower number. 263 horsepower is actually pretty decent. Is it like a super cool car? No, you're not going to get the most likes and follows on MySpace, but
You're
it's a pretty
goddamn
quick
right
one.
you're not.
However, coming in at first place, one of the fastest cars for under $5,000.
Hold on. Off top, that is a V6 Firebird for $4,500. It has 200,000 miles on it. Bad wreck, Mark.
Is going to the Pontiac Firebird 4th generation. You sadly aren't going to be able to find a WS6 for under 5K.
You're goddamn right you're not.
They come with the LS of the time, actually, which
From 98 to 02 they do.
They come with a 5.7 liter V8, making 325 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. 325 horsepower out of the gate is insane, but considering that that is an LS under the hood, buddy, you work 1 week at McDonald's, buy a turbocharger for it, and you're like the fastest guy in your town.
What? What? Like, look, maybe you could buy one of these for under $5,000. That line about working a week at McDonald's and turbo it is complete dreamer bullshit. But yeah, maybe you could buy a Camaro or Trans Am at this price point. Probably an earlier LT1 from 93 to 97. These came with an LT1 from 98 to 02. They came with the LS1 that he described. I just don't see an LS1 F-body in the cards for $5,000. One recommend to stick on here that might sound just as unrealistic, however, is the 4th gen Corvette with either the L98 or LT1, as those do seem to be completely worthless to this day. To sum up, come on, Mark Roden, you're better than this. I like the content. I know these are all just jumping off points for pie-in-the-sky 15-year-olds with learner's permits, but realistically, almost all of these are going to be really hard to find in remotely decent condition for $5,000. Going fast costs money, both upfront and in terms of maintenance. If you're looking for a $5,000 car, just go buy a Corolla or a Honda Fit, drive the shit out of it, call it a day. Or a Miata or a high-mileage salvage MR2 Spider. You know what we like on this channel. Slow car fast is the name of the game, especially when your budget is $5,000. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, please leave a comment. Trick the algorithm into thinking this is a good channel and hit like. CollectorCarFeed.com/store for stickers. CollectorCarFeed.com/cars is our Facebook Marketplace search tool to help you find a budget V8 rocket ship for under $5,000. Patreon.com/CollectorCarFeed for bonus content, still only a goddamn $1. Or click whatever's on your screen right now to keep watching, and we will see you next time. Collector Car Feed, your virtual car friends, now with over 13,400 subscribers. Apologies to Mark Roden. Goodbye.
I don't know what I'm saying.